Mrs. Bartley.
At this time, we will have the TPS mission and vision and the pledge of allegiance recited by Mrs. Lasusa Favela and the fifth grade students at Burroughs Elementary. Please stand.
Two, one.
Hi, we are Mrs. Kambaya class, 5th grade class at Burroughs Elementary School.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is our pledge in Espanol.
Prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos.
This is our mission statement.
We provide educational opportunities that ensure each student is prepared for their future.
This is our business statement.
We empower each and every student to lead and live a purpose-driven life.
Some of our core values are TPS is student-centered.
TPS nurtures student ownership.
TPS promotes safety and wellnesses.
TPS also nurtures a culture of positivity.
We also own our actions and embrace opportunities to grow.
We are TPS proud!
Thank you. I would now like to request a motion to adopt the May 20th, 2024 board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions, any discussions? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartley.
Yes.
This time we'll go to section 2, which is presentations, and I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Patty Mason.
There we go. Good evening. Tonight is all about celebrating. I think you'll find a theme as we go through our presentations. We have a few videos to share, and then we have some very talented and excited students who are going to perform the Rosa Parks School song for us. But we will start with a video from Hawkins STEM Academy highlighting the adaptive ballet program that recently occurred at the Toledo Botanical Garden.
This is a lovely collaboration between the Toledo Ballet, Hawkins STEM Academy, and of course the Toledo Botanical Gardens, which allow us to use this beautiful space. The children at the Hawkins STEM Academy have been working all year with me on learning dances, and today you're going to get to see them perform them.
So at Hawkins STEM, we are an Ohio STEM designated school, and our STEM identity is in sync with nature. So all of our projects, we try to connect to nature, phenology, and today we're having our recital with the Toledo Ballet, and students have been learning their science, their reading, their math standards through ballet, through music, through movement. So today we're out here in the beautiful Toledo Botanical Gardens with our families giving our recital.
I teach dance at Hawkins just like a gym teacher would teach dance at an elementary school. Fortunately, we got funding, and so that allows me to go into the school and teach these children once a week, and they get that break to come and explore the wonderful world of dance. Well, I love teaching. I love teaching dance, so I get to put those together. But the children are so excited. They're excited to have dance. And when I see them after they move on from me, after they go to a higher grade that I don't teach, they say, "Why don't you come to my class?" So that's a positive. It's fun. It's just very fun.
My name is Cynthia Madansky, and I am TPS proud.
after our folks from the ballet saw that video, they were so impressed and so happy with how the program ended up that they are going to submit that now for a national recognition and additional funding for next year. So that's exciting. But now we have the talented students from Rosa Park Elementary School. Ms. Richburg, would you like to take the mic here from me and introduce your talented young lady?
Yes. We have grades 1st through 3rd graders who are going to be presenting our school song. And please listen after the song as they are going to communicate what they want to be when they get older. Stand up.
My name is Savannah and I want to be an artist. My name is Dallas and I want to be a cheerleader coach. My name is Cadence and I want to be a lawyer. My name is Rihanna and I'll be a veterinarian.
My name is Casey and I want to be a lawyer.
Awesome job, ladies. We have one more video that we would like to share, and that is a video that is a snippet of the 175th anniversary event that we held on May 8th at the Downtown Library in honor of the district's 175th anniversary.
We're here today at the Lucas County Public Library, the main location, which actually is where TPS started, right on this land here. We thought that it would be best for us to come to the place where we started and celebrate 175 years.
One thing Robin and I did, we wrote a history of Toledo Public Schools about the year 2001 called A Chance for Every Child. What Robin put together is from the books and also revolving video pictures of different aspects of the Toledo Public Schools history. And it, of course, goes back to 1849. That's why it's 175th anniversary. And Robin's done all that research.
So I'm not just the board president of Toledo Public Schools, I'm also a product of Toledo Public Schools, and I'm a parent of students of Toledo Public Schools. So just to know the history, just to know the different schools, the different things that they have on the display, I'm really excited about going back down memory lane. My name is Randall Parker, and I'm TPS proud.
Later this summer, we will bring Ms. Robin Haig into the studio, and she will recite the entire presentation again that she gave that night at the library. And then we will again put that on YouTube and on our social media pages, so folks that were not able to be there will be able to enjoy the overall program. And the display is currently on, open to the public, the same hours as the Downtown Library through the end of June. So if you've not had a chance to go down, please do so. Last presentation tonight is our retirees. If any of our retirees are here, please come forward and shake hands with everyone at the Horseshoe. Diane Mickham Rossenfoss, she's a kindergarten teacher at Larchmont, retiring with 25 years and 6 months of service. Bessie Snyder, coordinator invoice control, 27 years of service. Vicki Finch, FSWIIA at Burroughs, 28 years and 8 months. Regina Britton, CCSE teacher at Larchmont with 31 years of service. Jeffrey A. Rose, multidisability teacher at Larchmont with 33 years of service. Terry Ann Stein, MD paraprofessional at START, 33 years and 9 months of service. Janet D. Trout, physical education and health teacher at Bowsher, 35 years of service. And Elva Beckner, she is a vision hearing paraprofessional through the Waite SAC, and she is retiring with 52 years and 5 months of service to Toledo Public Schools. Way to go, Elva. That is a total of 266 years and 8 months of service to TPS. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mazur. We will now move on to section 3, which we have no community comments. So we will go to section 4, organizational input, student representation. We see none, parent congress, TAP, TFT. And so we will welcome now Mrs. Gonzalez, president of ASME Local 2174.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, good, sorry. Hello, I am Juana Gonzalez. I am the local president of 2174. I am stepping in for our ASME rep. We have some exciting news to share, but also some concerns that we would like to bring to the table. I understand that there are stipulations and processes, and I want to make sure that I follow those. I wanted to bring to the attention of those members that are here today, Local 2174. There are a few of you here. I just wanted to make sure that you know, and also that the board members know, there are a little over 200 of you, which then service over 20,000 students, over 4,000 staff members. So I think that deserves a round of applause. If we could please give them a round of applause. Adding to that, we do have some people that were invited to the awards recognition and retirement. So we have some employees that have ranged from 40 to 30 to 25 years. So I think that deserves some recognition as well. AFSCME is going to be donating as well as we do every year to that good cause. And I think all of those names are well deserved and good recognition on behalf of TPS. What I wanted to bring to your attention are some concerns on our clerical staff that are in regards to our human resource mission, vision, key core values, core commitments. One of those I will state directly is the division, the HR division would like to retain highly qualified professionals, foster positive, ethical, and productive work environment. Under the onboarding and professional learning states that TPS will ensure employees have opportunities to engage in learning experiences that support their professional growth, beginning with orientation and onboarding of new employees and continuing through the tenure with TPS. Why TPS? We have all taken the choice to work for TPS. In the beginning, as it says, you hear our rallying cry, we are TPS proud. We would like to say that we are TPS proud, but right now, in all honesty, we are feeling defeated and depleted. We're hoping that we can come up with some processes, some form of compromise, understanding, evaluations, however it may be. Right now we have, for those of you who are familiar, an acting list that I'm not sure that there is a process for that that we can talk about and implement. Right now, I don't think it's being utilized as it was intended, and I would like to work with management to get that process set up so we don't have a situation as we do right now with an employee who is very new to the district, not even out of the 90-day probation, and is bypassing all of these other employees who've been here 40, 30, 25 years and should get that opportunity. So I'd like to work with the district on that, as well as onboarding and continuing throughout the tenure. If we don't have a process, we have to start from the beginning. And right now, and this is all transparent and honesty, there is definite room for development, room for improvement, and there always will be. I understand that, but I would just like to bring that to your attention that right now, outside of that, we don't have, we have tried to follow contract. This has nothing to do with the grievance, but I would like to improve that process in regards to training and starting from the beginning instead of working backwards, and that's kind of what it feels like right now in regards to opening opportunities, orientation, onboarding, continuing through TPS. One of the commitments, core commitments, culture and positivity, also growth mindset. A lot of us don't feel that we have that positivity because of the situations at hand, and I would like to work on that with management to improve that relationship, to improve the positivity, to uplift the morale, because right now that's kind of where we are. I have provided those statements, and I would just like to focus on those core commitments to see if we can improve that relationship between our union, Local 2174, and management. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gonzalez. At this time, we will go to section 5, which is comments by the board. Mrs. Varley.
Sure, thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the borough's 5th grade class for the pledge, mission, and vision. It always warms my heart to see our students involved in our board meetings. Even if that's the only way we can get in this virtually, I'll take it. Also, the Hawkins STEM Academy, that was a beautiful video, and it just warms my heart that we have these great opportunities for our students in our district. Love to see more. And then, of course, our Rosa Parks students who've already gone, I understand, but the singers were beautiful. I love the song from Rosa Parks, one of my favorite schools, and we certainly have a rock star and a principal there. And then 175th anniversary, certainly can't say enough about that. That was a great endeavor. I mean, I know that our team has worked so hard for so many years to make that happen. And so it's just really heartwarming to see, and I was proud to be a part of it and look forward to the coming year celebrating our anniversary. And then certainly our retirees, because again, I always say we could not do what we do without what they do on the daily in our school district. 266 years is incredible. So thank you to all the retirees. Ms. Gonzalez, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. And we're happy to hear from you at any time. Thank you. Looking forward to graduation season. Obviously, this is the time I just celebrated my own grandsons from Maumee High School, and so it was great to, you know, kind of get into that that mode. And so I know it's headed our way, and it's just always full of smiles, and that's always a great thing. I will say, just so everyone knows, I am actually pretty excited about this, but we're taking a few folks from TPS and from other colleagues from across the state. We've formed a working group for the alternative to the state report card. And we're going to present tomorrow to a legislator to see what we can do to move the needle on the carrot and stick approach that has been taken by the state. So I'm looking forward to presenting tomorrow. I think it's a great opportunity to give some fresh perspective and new light on what a report card could be for our state and for our district specifically. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Barwood. Ms. Barnes?
Thank you, Mr. President. So I would like to first say congratulations to the 5 graduates of the TPS 22 Plus program. You did it, and we are so proud of you. And then I would like to say thank you to all the staff, from the bus drivers to the paras, to the teachers, to the parents, and even Joan Leadership Academy students who all volunteered at the ability games at Woodward. It was a beautiful celebration. Everybody was either smiling or just, you know, tired. I was tired because I couldn't chase the kids. But just an amazing event. Unfortunately, because of the weather, because hello, we live in Midwest, we never know if it's going to snow or rain. The other ability games was canceled, and I told Bambino, my youngest son, who would have been participating, that he can come to Dr. Durant's house and make up for that rain day. So he's looking forward to that, Dr. Durant. I'm also excited for graduations. I believe I'm doing my first 8th grade graduation tomorrow, and it's going to be a little different. They're going to be more energized, so I can't wait for that to be at Whittier. And then just congratulating all the families, the staff, the students for another year wrapping up. So TPS proud.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. I want to say that we are really excited about Burroughs Elementary coming today via the video and sharing our Pledge of Allegiance and our TPS mission and vision, and awesome end-of-the-year presentations with STEM, Hawkins STEM Academy, and the students from Rosa Parks, and being a part of the 175th celebration. I did not know I was on the video, so I'll use that video every time I need to be introduced. Really excited about that. And to our retirees, again, thank them so much for their service and all they do. Mrs. Gonzalez, thank you for being here, and to ask me, the representatives that are here as well, thank you for being here for the organizational input. We appreciate that. The Arts and Athletics Committee and the student activities, this year we actually went out to recognize our champions of TPS, and I was so excited to go to Bowser and recognize the champions there. And also, we'll probably never get to the Grammys, but I was a part of the Rammies, and that was so exciting to be a presenter of the Rammies and celebrating the champions of that school as well. Finally, this is graduation season. I tell people all the time that for me, this is the most wonderful time of the year to see students who have overcome and achieved for this moment. It's a little bittersweet because this is the first year that I am not an active parent of TPS students, and so just being able to go to the schools and celebrate with the parents, the staff, and particularly those students who have endured these 4 years to reach this next level of their life. So again, we're really excited. This is an amazing time of the year of celebration. And I believe that's all. Thank you. Mr. Vasquez.
Yeah, I would just like to say congratulations to all the presenters. I think the students and our staff, teachers do a great job preparing them. They were very excited. I love to see the parents supporting their children. The other thing is that I want to repeat what everybody else said. This is a great time of year. Graduation is always exciting, but I think it's also exciting for the parents and the students who are graduating. They put a lot of work into it. The students just don't pop up and do everything by themselves. They have to have people who support them. And the more they're supported, the better they're going to do. So I think it's a great day for parents. I think it's a great day for our staff. Our staff also support the students and all of our staff. The one thing that the 175th reminded me is everybody who's come before us to make sure that TPS is the kind of institution that we all have come to be proud of. The other thing is that I want to address the issues brought up by Ms. Gonzalez. Those issues, in my mind, are appropriate for labor management. And you are hopefully aware of labor management. If you're not, then maybe Mr. Gant can help you with that, because the issues that you listed are issues that should be addressed, and they should have been addressed in labor management. So I think to be effective there. So please make sure you reach out and do that, okay? That's all.
Thank you. We will now go to section 6, which is our consent agenda. Agenda items 6.01 through 6.48 are the consent agenda items. Board members may request to pull any item from the consent and move to the discussion section of the agenda. Item 6.01 through 6.05, Human Resource Staff Development and Training Committee. Chair Polly Taylor Gerken, Co-Chair Randall Parker III. Item 6.06 through 6.16, Finance and Business Operation Committee. Chair Bob Vasquez, Co-Chair Chris Barwood. Item 6.17, Workforce Development and Partnership Committee. No action items this month. Chair Bob Vasquez, Co-Chair Polly Taylor Gerken. Item 6.18, 6.20, Board Curriculum Instruction Academic Excellence. Chair Polly Taylor Gerken, Co-Chair Chris Barwood. Item 6.21, 6.40, Policy Committee. Chair Sheena Barnes, Co-Chair Bob Vasquez. Item 6.41, 6.43, Arts, Athletics, and Student Activities Committee. Chair Chris Barwood, Co-Chair Randall Parker III. Item 6.44, 6.45, Family and Community Engagement Committees. Chair Bob Vasquez, co-chair Sheena Barnes. Item 6.46 through 6.48 is the approval of board meeting minutes. I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick.
Section 7 of the agenda consists of reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are there for information and reference. No action is required. So now we can proceed to Section 8 of the agenda. Section 8, discussion item 8.01. This is the resolution for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Mrs. Barnes, would you read the resolution, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Resolution honoring Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Whereas this May marks the 46th anniversary of the federal recognition of Asian Pacific Islander American Heritage Month, and the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District, the board celebrates the wealth of diversity and cultural heritage within the city of Toledo and the district brought by Asian Americans and Pacific Islander Americans. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Americans have played a pivotal role in the foundation and success of our nation. I want to ask for grace because these are Native names and I will try my best, so please allow grace. From the art created by Ruth Aswa, Binda, Namjung Pa, Malin, Ting Wan Chai, San O, Kim Jong, and Jason Scott Lee, to the architectural designs of Ian Penn, to the skilled labor, provided in the completion of America's first transcontinental railroad, to the medical care and contributions made by Dr. Kazu Tagiski, that's not right, but please give me grace, Dr. Rich Kenyon, Iken Biswell, Dr. Dave Poe, and Dr. Catherine Lujuraina, to the educational advances of Dr. Harry Wong, to the athletic achievements of Tommy Wong, Sun Yi, Apao On, Christy Yamaguchi, Justin Wong Ortretz, to the achievements and advancements of innumerable others. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Americans represent a multitude of backgrounds, languages, and faiths, whose legacies are vibrant traditions, hard work, and profound commitments to education and community are essential to our nation and to the city of Toledo. And whereas Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month represent a time to increase awareness about how diversified and accomplished Asian American and Pacific Islander Americans are, to educate young people about their rich heritage and culture of Asian American and Pacific Islander Americans, and to recognize the bias, bigotry, and the violence that Asian American and Pacific Islanders Americans have historically faced and continue to face in our society. And whereas the board is committed to teaching students about Asian American and Pacific Islander American heritage, cultures, languages, achievements, and history to help all students understand, respect, and appreciate the identity and experience of others, and to develop pride in their own identity and understanding of their own experiences. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Education of Toledo City School District that Section 1, the board hereby recognizes and directs Toledo Public City Schools to recognize May as Asian American Pacific Islander American Heritage Month. And Section 2, the board affirms its commitment to understanding, celebrating, and appreciating its Asian American and Pacific Islander American students, family, educators, and communities, and to foster their success by acknowledging their heritage, cultures, achievements, and struggles. And Section 3, the board maintains its commitment to educate Toledo Public School students about American history, which includes Asian American Pacific Islander American history. And Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and effective from immediately after its adoption and shall supersede any prior resolutions or acts of this board which may be inconsistent or duplicate with the provision of this resolution. And Section 5, is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this board concerning and relating to this passage of this resolution were taken in an open meeting of this board, and that our deliberations and all that our deliberations of the board and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with the legal requirements, including section 121-22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you. Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Burns.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank everyone for trusting the leadership in this about honoring and celebrating the true vision of equity and access. Because when you have strong foundation in equity and access, you will get the diversity, you will get the inclusion, you will get that welcoming, the belonging. And although the arc that bends to justice is ongoing, every day TPS is making strides to make sure that our students feel seen, welcome, and heard, even if the reflection of the textbook do not look like them. And I want to actually thank our legal team for assisting with this ongoing education, because I'm learning as I grow and teach people. So I want to thank our legal team for drafting this. Next time, I think I need to study the names first. But I'm so honored to work for a district that is getting it right when it's talked about uplifting and seeing all our students and all their identities and their families and their cultures and communities. So this really speaks to the true meaning of why I am TPS proud. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. Any other discussions? Not Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Mrs. Barwig.
This time we will have our 5-year forecast. Our Treasurer, Mr. Chefsaldi, to present us at this time.
Just pulling it up right now. So tonight we're going to go over the 5-year forecast. November is the original forecast, and in May we need to update it. The forecast is a document that will have 3 years of actual data and 5 years of projections, and it's used to basically measure the health of the finances of the school district. Our summary forecast is showing that we plan on generating roughly about $336 to $364 million each year over the next 5 years. We have a levy proposed for this November, 3.8 operating, and then we anticipate spending somewhere between $379 to $386 million per year, which will leave us an ending balance of $22.5 million. Now we're going to go into a little deeper dive into the numbers. So where does our money come from for the forecast? 69% comes from the state, 27% is locally funded, and 4 other. You look at the charts to the left, that's a 10-year history. You'll see that there's a reduction in state funding from 21 to 22. That's when the Fair School Funding Plan was implemented. And in that implementation, students are now, we receive funding for the students we educate, not where the student lives. So then the way the Fair School Funding Plan works, the state determines a base cost. A base cost is what it takes to educate a typical child. So it takes in instructional, it takes in student support, it takes in administration, operations, and it comes up with a dollar figure. Then the state wants the local to also participate, so they determine what the local capacity is. In order to do that, they weight property values and income. Our local capacity is 22.5%. And then once that's done, then they'll add on additional funding for students with special needs, English language learners, poverty assistance, transportation, and other items. The key to the funding formula is enrollment. So we currently have 19,953 students that we're educating. We will not increase or decrease that for the funding formula or for the 5-year forecast. So we're gonna keep our enrollment flat. I also wanna point out, this is year 4 of a 6-year phase-in. We will be watching the budget process next year, because they need to authorize the final 2 years of the phase-in. The next item is property taxes. That is the other large revenue source. Property in Ohio is taxed in mills. Every mill is $1 for every $1,000 of taxable value. And property taxes or property values are taxed at 30%, 35% of their value. So a $100,000 home would be taxed on $35,000, which would mean they would have a $35 tax. The taxable value for the school district is $2.6 billion, and 1 mil of collection is $2.6 million. The other thing that's going on with property values right now is we are in a sexennial reappraisal. That is where the county auditor will go out and look at all the properties and make an assessment on their value. At this time, based on the other counties in the state going through this process within the last 2 years, we're anticipating a 20% increase in property values. That does not mean that there will be a 20% increase in property taxes, because there's a little law that's called House Bill 920 that doesn't allow for our levies to generate any more money than when they were passed. So if we passed the levy 10 years ago and it was supposed to generate $1 million a year, as property value goes up, the tax rate goes down, and we still only generate the $1 million a year. So, but we anticipate the 20%. That comes into play with our local capacity. So there's a little game going on right now where the state's shifting from the state to the local. So we'll keep an eye on that to see where that goes. So once we know the values, this chart's hard to see, but we have voted millage of 65 mills that support our general fund. With the House Bill 920, the effective rate for commercial and industrial is 55 mills, residential and agriculture is 35. So what's happening is, it's easier to see on this slide. Oh, this one. You'll see the column that says Class 1 residential, and you'll see a 29.8 underneath it. We've actually voted in 65 mills. They've been reduced by 29.8, so we're only collecting 35.5 mills of property taxes for our general fund operating. The other items on there, the bond retirement, that's for the debt that we have issued in the district. We have a permanent improvement fund. The money that's generated there has to go towards items that have a 5 years or greater useful life. So that's not one that can be used for operations. And then we have our facilities maintenance from the construction project. Overall, as a district, we have voted 71 mills with effective rate for 41 for res ag and then 61 for commercial industry. So overall, we just went over the top 5 line items in the revenue. The all other, which is roughly 15 million, that's interest, our Medicaid reimbursements, excess costs, catastrophic costs, a lot of miscellaneous revenues. So then when we go into expenditures, you'll see that 68% of our expense is in salary and benefits, 27% is purchase services, 2% is supplies, 1% is capital, and 2% is all other. For FY24, the current fiscal year we're in, our salary and benefits are 71%, purchase services are 2%, and then 5% for all others, supplies and capital outlay. You can see the decrease in the state spending where the red gets smaller. That's where we're no longer having to have the flow through for charter schools go through. So we didn't get the revenue on the one side, but we also don't have the expense on the other. But then when you're doing percentages, it skews the percentages. So, the Ohio Legislative Commission says that 68% of all educational spending is on salary and benefits. The National Center for Education Statistics indicates that 80% should be going towards salary and benefits. For our district, it's 71%. Now, you have to really kind of look at the 71% and look behind the number, because if you have a veteran staff, the number will be higher. Depending on your labor market, it can make the number go higher. So you have to look at what's behind the numbers to really understand it, but we're trending right where we should be. The next item is purchase services. That's the second large item. So property services, which 44%, that's building renovations, maintenance, repairs. So that's all the work going on at DeVilbiss, the EV school, the CDL, and so forth. And then from there, we have our utilities, and then tuition and other similar payments. That's excess costs and catastrophic costs. Excess cost and catastrophic costs are the costs that we're charged when we have some of our students attend a different district for various reasons, but mainly for special education and so forth. Then we have professional services, which is 11%. That would be attorneys or other professionals that we would contract with. Next, so that brings us to our expenditures, looking at $369 million to $386 million. One thing I do want to point out on expenditures is that for FY25 and FY27, there's 4% reductions in each one of those years. So there's the key assumptions. So what we'll track, because there's certain things that really control the forecast, would be our property values, our enrollment, the passage of the levy in November, and then we have to watch out to make sure the legislature keeps on going with the Fair School Funding Plan, and then the collection rate for our property taxes. Right now, we estimate that we collect at 96%. It's meaning, so we get 96 cents of every dollar that we should be getting. On the expenditure side, we look at the large expenditures, which is going to be payroll, benefits, utilities, and contracts. And then as we go through the year, we need to monitor if we have funding changes. So ESSER is a good example of changing some of the expenses to ESSER, and then they do come back. We have roughly about $30 million coming back this year from ESSER, because ESSER expires at the end of the fiscal year. Then we also watch for timing issues and identify other issues, meaning we could be looking at instructional supplies. Instructional supplies could be used at 50%, but we're only 25% through the school year. Well, that makes sense because you need the instructional supplies at the beginning of the school year, and they're used throughout the year. From there, we go to the ending balance. The lower right-hand corner shows 16.5. If you add the $6 million up above it from encumbrances, that's your $22.5 million. It shows the levy passage in November will generate, once fully up and running, roughly just about $10 million. So that is where we're at with that. Are there any questions?
Ms. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Ryan, for that report. So I failed my math classes all the way from K to college. So the question I have for you is, when we're talking about when students who are not attending TPS, going to charter and other private schools, and we do the transportation, we supply, I guess you can say, or serve the IEP meetings and take care of the children with disabilities. Our staff payments come from our pot, correct? Not any other pot. Just one. I mean, I kind of know the answer, but I wanted to put it out there just because.
Correct.
Okay. So we pay for students who do not attend out of the pot of the dollar that our kids are getting. Correct? There's not another balance somewhere else that can contribute to the kids who are not attending TPS. That comes from our foundational pot. That's supposed to be supplemented for our students, correct?
I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
So the money that follows them out of our district, that does not pay for our staff to supply the services, correct? Okay, that's one thing I wanted to put out there, that we are literally losing funding, and it's increasing because of vouchers. And I know probably my fellow board member is going to speak on that a little bit. We are losing more money to vouchers as they increase, and they are finding ways to even do that further, as far as take away funding for lunches, or thinking about taking away funding for lunches. A lot of people don't know the board and administration worked on a plan to make sure all students, regardless of income, have access to free lunches. We're not going to get into the taste of free lunches, but they have access to our free lunches, because we know food insecurity is real, and we saw that during COVID. So when they're talking about taking that financial assistance away from our students, and then only serving lunch to the students who are 200% below the poverty line. And if you don't understand what that means, you can have a household of 4. And if you make over $2,400 a month, you are then there over the 200% poverty level. So they're going to take that money, and then we can't feed the kids who may still in need of it, and then we'll have to supplant that if we choose to still want to feed all the students who need lunches. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was watching Representative Crocker, and I'm on my game today. If y'all know, y'all know. And then the next thing I want to make a statement on is, I saw a quote that this kind of talks about when we're talking about defunding public education. Ryan put it out there in a very mathematical way of that our percentages for state funding is relying on 69%. We are relying on state funding to service our students throughout our district, right? And we service all students. We do not turn them away for their gender identity, sexual orientation, race, religion, ethnicity, age, disability, region, language, anything, even immigration status, right? Other schools can do so. With 69%, that requires the funding to serve them, and they keep depleting it and going down each year. And I would love to get like a statement of how each year they cut it and how. It was a quote that says, we have successfully figured out how to gauge wealth and poverty, and that's by the state report cards. If you look at the state report cards in different districts, you will see a F or A, a B, a C, and they're thinking about changing it. Well, what it's really measuring is the household income down the street from that school. So I just want to put all that out there, saying this is a bigger battle than us asking our constituents, our residents, for more money. It is a fight to really give our children access to high quality education. So thank you for putting it into numbers, and I just put it into story.
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Barnes, because I don't even know if I have to talk about vouchers now, right? And it goes to the report card as well. It's all intermingled. My question is, we're the only entity, governmental entity, that needs to do a 5-year forecast. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
I don't know if this is working. The city, the county, no one else has to do that.
No, and in fact, we're probably one of 2 states that have to do it throughout the country.
So it's kind of an essence of looking at your own household budget, a crystal ball over the next 5 years, trying to gauge what you can pay for and what you can't pay for.
Yes, it's setting our priorities.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing I want to go back to was the students that now that we're kind of like a passover with the dollar amounts for private schools and charter schools, who is watching the dollars and who is monitoring the dollars, our taxpayer dollars, that are going to those entities, because now we no longer can see how that is spent?
To my knowledge, they are not reviewed.
So, I won't lose my shit. So, I apologize. I'm so frustrated with the idea that our taxpayer dollars, that we have to account for every penny, and we put it out to the public. And we're not afraid of putting that out to the public, nor should we be. And we're accountable to the public because we go for levies that none of us want to go beg $4, right, for the district. No one wants to do that. But at the same time, we have no choice in the matter. And I'm not going to get on the whole levy aspect because we're no longer allowed to really talk about levies at the board meetings because of the state legislature. But at the end of the day, we've got taxpayer dollars to the tune of $1 billion that are going to vouchers that are unaccountable to the public that pays them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you.
Mr. Vasquez. My comments are a little bit different, although I agree with all of my colleagues on the board. In finance, in the finance committee, what the numbers do not show are a couple of things. One is that our administration has been doing an excellent job of coming up with a plan and a strategy to address many of the issues that are out of our control. They're in the control of the state legislature and others, and we have to live with it. We have no choice. So one of those things are, and if you watch, what we've been doing is providing schools that give choice. That's part of how we're retaining our students. And when we retain our students, we're also getting the accompanying finances that come along with that. But what that does is that is what I would say a little bit of an elaborate plan, because we're trying to provide curriculum and choice to our students so that they choose and continue to choose to public schools. And I think we've been doing a great job of that. So what that shows is that no matter what our challenges are, we have come up with a plan and a strategy that are not reflected in the numbers, except for kind of in the end. I think one of the points I want to make is we're getting less state funding, and the state's trying to get local citizens to fund our schools. It's a continuing thing and continues to go on. What happens, and I want to tell my colleagues, these things have to happen. Those assumptions that you saw up there have to happen. If they don't happen, our whole budget changes, and we don't have the finances to do what it is. If the state decides to do a different plan, fair funding plan, our whole budget is out the window, so to speak. Okay. And I know you said something that we can't talk about the levy, but we can talk about the money that the levy, because one of the assumptions is that we have a levy and it's going to pass. If that doesn't happen, it impacts our finances. And that's not talking about the levy, it's talking about the finances. So those assumptions are built in. And so I want to bring to your attention that this budget is very, very tight. And the administration and the board is doing the best that we can to manage the things that we have control over. Because we're impacted by so many things we don't have control over. Okay? And so we're trying to do the best for our community, for our students, for our parents, the best that we can. I want to compliment Mr. Sexolti, Dr. Durant, Mr. Gant. We've talked about this endlessly. So I just want to give a word of caution that what you see is only there and they're only projections. It's not fixed in stone, so to speak. Okay.
very delicate balance. School funding is one of the most complicated things that I think is out there. One thing depends on another thing, depends on another thing. It's a certain percentage of the whole of this, of that. And I'd like to thank Mr. Sexoldi for trying to break it down so that we can understand it the best possible. Just to my colleagues, this is a tight budget. Certain things don't happen. And the only reason I bring that up because when people talk about and they say, well, when something doesn't happen and you don't have the money and we're depending on the state or we're dependent on levies or we're dependent on wherever our finances come from, well, right, we can't do it because finances don't come in. So we have to go back and we have to change our plan. And people say, well, you're doing that all of a sudden. No, it's not all of a sudden. We work on this every day of what we can do and how we can go forward. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that there's a lot inside of all those numbers in that presentation that Mr. Sexolti gave that is not descriptive in just looking at the numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. To all of my colleagues, thank you so much for your perspective. And even though different things were said, the heart and mind of this board is very simply that we're doing the best we can for our district. Thank you for presenting the 5-year forecast as well, the transparency. And if there's nothing that's more frustrating to me, Ms. Farwick said it best, than selective accountability. At this time, I'd like to request a motion to approve the 5-year forecast.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Now, Treasurer, call the roll, please.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick?
Section 9 will be walk-ins. Are there any walk-ins this evening? If not, we can proceed to Section 10, which is early childhood education, action items. No action items this month. Chair, Randall Parker III. Co-chair, Sheena Barnes. Section 11 of the agenda consists of early childhood education reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings that are provided for your information and reference. No action is required, so we can proceed to Section 12. Is there any walk-ins? No walk-ins this month. So now we will go to Section 13. Section 13 is executive session. The board may hold an executive session for number 1, to consider the appointment and employment of a public employee, and then also 4, preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. I'd like to request a motion to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Not, Treasurer, call the roll, please.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick?
Yes.
Thank you. All want to leave, you can. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. to reconvene from executive session?
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes. Yes.
At this time, we will go to section 14, comments from our superintendent.
Yep. Again, we're on trail graduation. We got 11 straight graduations. Will be confined to 4 days, 3 today or tomorrow, 3 on Thursday, 3 on Tuesday, and 2 on Wednesday. That we'll be finalizing. Take a look at the news article. Blade is going to do 30 students who graduate with an associate degree from Tweeter Early College. Kind of like I put it in perspective to her. You add all the high schools in Northwest Ohio, they still wouldn't equal half of the numbers that Tweeter Early College has already produced. So it was great to see them at graduation. Obviously, thanks for taking part in the annual spring plant sale, Aviation Expo, Clear Day, along with the Student Olympics. Continue to go on, and then PTA students are still doing their exchange in Coburg, Germany, and won't be back until May 30th. So I thought it was a great exchange between the two parties, but again, they continue to make us all TPS proud, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Durant. Treasurer? Thank you, sir. Mrs. Varwick, any comments?
Just that I did attend the plant sale, I did my part and supported the economy. You know, that hurt a little bit, but, you know what, the students out there were fabulous, and they love what they do, and it shows, it really shows. So I'm so proud to be on the board and being able to support them in what, in the opportunities that they have available to them. So look forward to graduation season, and
Ms. Barnes?
Thank you, Mr. President. Pretty much just want to say have a good evening and stay safe and well until next time.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yeah, I wanted to just say that I was able to attend the Wade High School retirees, friends, and family luncheon. Dr. Durant, did you get the chance to stop by there? Or? No? Okay. And then Mr. Ramirez, I was looking for him, and I know he was busy. But anyway, it was a great luncheon. It's amazing how many of those teachers and administrators were Wade graduates, just like you and I, that go back to Wade and teach and become administrators. So that was a lot of fun. It was, I even saw some of my old, I shouldn't say old, my former teachers there. So that was wonderful. Other than that, TPS proud.
Thank you so much. Again, we're excited about graduation season. I am going to personally try to make it to every graduation this year. So I love the adrenaline about that. So, man, me, Dr. D, and the admin, we're going to make this thing live. So TPS proud. All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Obviously not. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes? Mrs. Varwick?
yes.
Have a good evening, everyone.